Well, hello, Paradigm Shifters. What's up? Yep, we are on Paradigm Shifters 2.0. Oh my God. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool, Julie?
Yes,
Doesn't
I'm
that
very
mean,
proud of you.
yeah, well, it is,
And
it's,
and the shifters as well, but yeah, it's amazing.
well, what Paradigm Shifters is a global community of people that are dedicated to shift and uplift the entire planet in all different ways. And so this is Transformation Tuesday. And so far, we have had 52 speakers every Tuesday.
Wow.
And so I thought, well, what could be the topic for this journey we're on? So this month is honoring the journey. And so far, we have 1,156 members in here from 26 countries, or 27, I lost count. But the people that are drawn here are really dedicated to keeping going,
Yeah.
even in these really tough times. So let's see. I'm going to introduce our speaker today, my buddy from many years ago, Miss Winston, Julie
Hello.
Winston. Yeah. And Julie, I first met Julie way back when Henry Middle School was opening up, and I was just blown away that they would even give me a classroom. There's this classroom across the hall, and it had my name on it, and I'm like, wow, I've got a whole classroom here. And we were unpacking, and I looked, and there was an art room next door. I'm like, wow. And this young mom and two little kids were there unpacking and putting together an art class. Do you remember that,
I
Julie?
do. I do. Yeah, you were the first person I met, other than my principal, the first teacher I met. And you were so positive and welcoming um and I just knew that was a good sign. you
And
know?
and one of the things that I know about you, Julie, um, one, you're a fantastic mother.
Thank
I
you.
mean, you were single mom in it back then, and I know your daughters are fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
But I also wanted to emphasize also is the students that I taught were, let's say in a lot of ways very challenging, but they could go to your art class and feel really good about themselves. And that was such a gift, and you have that gift. So Julie is currently, in fact, if you look, she's in her classroom right now.
Yeah, I've got some of my daughter's work, some personal. I've got other art posters everywhere, but this is my wall.
It's your yeah. So you're currently teaching at Vista Ridge High School. My gosh, the start of like this third year, I think, of this pandemic stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, and you're from UT, right? From
I'm a
Horns.
Longhorn, former
Yeah,
Longhorn.
live in Cedar Park, and you're from Missouri, Texas. And I would like everyone to take a deep breath here, um, because I have a quote from Julie that just rocked my boat. And so, Julie, this is a quote from Julie Winston. My goal is to always stay positive. Things change every day. You have to be able to ride the waves and relax. Let go of things that are not in your control and focus on the reason you're in a classroom, whether it's in front, oops, hold on, wait a second, whether it's in front of a group of kids or a screen full of kids. Amen.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And focus on the why you're even there. So I would love it if I could pass this over to you. And what is your why? Why do you do what you do? And how many years have you been doing this?
That's such a good question. It's so funny. I get the years question and I don't even think about it. I kind of know it's somewhere around 17 or 18, I think. It's not, and it's funny, but I'm not counting the years to retirement. You know, some people are like, oh, I'm 1 year out. I'm somewhere in the middle. Um, but why I do this is interesting because when I graduated from UT, I have a degree in art, painting and photography. So teaching was not in my, it just wasn't in my realm at that time. And then when I had my daughters, they're only 17 months apart, I thought, man, I don't want to work to 8 to 5. I was working in graphics. I didn't want to work 8 to 5. And at that time, Texas was offering alternative certification programs. I'm not like a great student. So as if I knew, oh, I could do just enough, the good, the stuff you really needed, then I would do it. And so I went through that program and started teaching art middle school. And I just like from the moment I taught at a tough school. I wouldn't say it's tough. It'd be tough to some teachers. You know, art, we have the advantage that usually kids like the art class, right? I don't have to struggle to get the art from them. But then teaching in Amarillo, then moving back to Cedar Park to the Austin area, teaching at Henry, and then transferring over here. I think my why, it's interesting that it brings me joy. I mean, I love what I do. And I always tell my students that. I've told my daughters, it doesn't matter. The money will come. You can't focus on how much money you'll make. You need to be happy making it. And then whatever you make will be enough, you know? But if you find that joy, I also learned a long time ago to be flexible, to let go of things that are out of my control. We can all complain about little things in the district or little things in the classroom or little things with the curriculum, but those things are out of my control. I can't fix that, but I can fix the way that I present those things or handle those things. So my why is really just about what I get back from it, the joy of it. That's mine.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So, tell if you don't mind, tell me about what it was like when you had to make that switch to being behind a screen. And I know you're very compassionate and loving to those all your students. What was it like for them, and what was it like for you to be so flexible?
Yeah, going back to the original, we were on spring break, originally, and then like in 20, then it turned into, an extended spring break. And I was a department head at the time. So I had a lot of meetings about how to connect. Like, how are we going to get to the students, to get to the Zoom information, to give them the Zoom, to get them to join in? So a lot of that, I was fortunate to be at a school where we were very proactive about meeting and figuring out the best case scenario just to get to the end of the school year. At that point, it was let's just keep them involved as much as we can, but let's eliminate what we normally would have done in the classroom. Some of those expectations or grades, you're going to have to weed some of that out. It's just about trying to keep them connected to us. So then moving into the following year, because we had already implemented Zoom, because most of the students were aware of it, beginning the school year that way, they were already using Google Classroom, using Zoom, knowing how to get, attendance, knowing how to participate. That was really helpful. I tell my students, I mean, literally cried on the first day of school here because seeing these kids again, a room full of students. I teach high school, so I have the most I have in a class is 35. So my classes range around in the 30s, 35. But last year, just looking, you start off like we're excited, and then little by little of the year, all I'd see were names on a screen, names on a screen. I mean, in person, they could come in person. The most I ever had in person last year was 3 students in a classroom.
Wow.
So I have a screen full of kids and then 3 kids sitting somewhere, right? And I'm a performer. Like, I need an audience. I think a lot of teachers, we feed off that, right? So when you're just looking at some names, it was difficult to just make something engaging, right? And you get to the point too where you really empathize. I'm not going to beg you to turn your screen on because there's a reason why you don't want it on. And I need to respect that. I don't know what your home life is. I don't know how you're feeling emotionally today, but it's okay. And if you're asleep, I can't do anything about that either, you know? So, gee, we fought it in the beginning, and I realized, man, it goes back to the same principle of you didn't bring a pencil today, just get a pencil. I'm not going to go around and around about a pencil, right? That's not that brings my joy level down. So I learned how to let the screen go, let the names be there, um, but being excited about seeing a room full of kids. But I also know things can change, right?
Yeah.
We're watching it every day and being prepared, things may change, and that's okay. That's okay.
Wow. Wow. I'm tearing up. One day I went over to the laundromat to see the kids who, I'm just curious. I'm not in the classroom, but every time I drive by a school, I just put this wave of love out to the students and you guys, and most of
Yeah.
the teachers. I was in the laundromat and I saw a mom and all of her kids lined up because there was internet over there,
Hmm.
and they were
Exactly.
doing their screen time in the laundromat, and my heart just like went whoa.
Yeah.
And so yeah.
It's a sensitive issue. And people would come up with these art. Well, everybody's got a wall. Like maybe they're embarrassed for their house. And I'm like, yeah, but it's not just what's behind them. It's what's in front of them that we can't see, right? It's what's inside them that they can't tell me. And so my job is to teach them art history. I'm at the point now where I'm teaching art history. My job is to make that as exciting as possible. And I did a little review at the end of the school year last year, kind of just a survey. And they said, it made me feel really good. And it was a student that I started seeing in the beginning, and then gradually I just saw his name, right, throughout the year. And he sent me this beautiful message that said, there were times where they get sick of logging in, right? The bell, the sound, the ding of the Zoom. And he said, but not once. He goes, there were times where I just were like, oh, I dreaded logging into something. And he said, but never once in your class did I dread going to Winston's class because I knew you worked really hard to just try to make something interesting, or I had jokes, or even it was just a lecture. Um, I worked really hard to make that connection to a kid that I can't see his face, and they knew it. They knew it. Sometimes these kids get a bad rap, they get blanket statement, you're lazy, you're playing games while I'm teaching, you're doing this and that. Well, maybe some are, but some aren't. We don't know what that story is. So it's not my place to judge it. My job is to do this, that's my job. And what you do on the other end is your job. Or if you're listening or not, that's your job.
Wow. That's so perfect. That is so profound, and yeah. So I have another couple questions that I know you're in the middle of your school day, so for
No,
sure.
it's fine. I have a nice long break. Go right ahead.
Whoa. So um this is a question that came up for me today. Once a teacher, always a teacher, right?
Mhm.
And someone asked me, what lights up your soul more than anything else?
Oh man. Okay. This is so cool. Now, great, like working in art, I love teaching art. I teach art one now. I've taught everything from photography to AP drawing and stuff. Art history had just fallen into my lap. And but what lights up is when I have either a former student come to me and go, bring me something and go, oh, Miss Winston, I brought you a gift. It's the wave. It's, Hokusai's the wave. And I thought of you. Or a student at the end of the semester, and I asked them to start making these cultural connections. Here's a work of art, find another work from somewhere else and connect them. And they make these connections that I never would have thought of. And I thought, oh my gosh, they get it. Like they totally got it now. And what they don't realize, and I always tell them this, I go, someday you're in a very elite group of people. You don't have to memorize the name of an artist or the painting, but you're going to see it and you're going to remember the story about it. Anybody can Google a date, right? Or what's the name of the painting that looks like this, right? But they're going to know the story. And it's when they tell me those stories, or I've had dinners with parents of former students, and they say, oh my gosh, we were at a museum and they were telling me the story about this work. And I went, my work is done. Like, that's my light, My light is when I see kids too talking about art, but those are just really, or you go, oh, somebody was listening. I know a couple people heard me. So that brings me joy. That's my light, when I get it on the back end there and I see them, like it's working in them. I can see it. You can see it as a teacher. You can see those light bulb moments. You just, without them saying a word, you see it.
Oh, that is so perfect. This is so perfect. And for the paradigm shifters, think about this. This is a dedication. This is like someone, and most of the teachers that I know are like that. And there's also the emotions that go with it, and
Mm-hmm.
that we are also, that you are also, Julie, um, raising two beautiful daughters, right? I don't know, Zoe and
They're
Echo.
22 and 24 now. So I feel like I passed them on and got them, so far. But yeah, I think as a parent, you never stop raising your children. But I have to learn when to back off on the advice.
Yeah, right. And also and like your mom was here, and I just wanted, my heart goes out to you, but
Thank you.
taking that also on, that I what is it, that how do you do your own personal self-care?
Oh man, Judy, that is such a great question because I wasn't doing that for like a I mean, I almost want to say until recently. You put your focus on raising your kids, right? 100%. And then you have kids in the classroom. So essentially, you're parenting them sometimes. My mother, who just recently passed away, lived a great life, 92, but also taking care of her. So I was always last on the list. I mean, always. And you don't realize it until you start wearing down. And it doesn't, you think, oh, I'll do that later for myself. I need to do these other things. And I had this great epiphany. I just got back from Italy, right? For my birthday, I planned a trip. Here's a great paradigm shift for you, or great positive projection. In May, I bought the ticket. I paid for the entire trip, right? I just paid for it. I planned it for July. And then somebody, after I paid for everything, they go, is Italy open? And I went, is it not? I just assumed, right? Well, and I thought, no, it'll be open. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. But that's where I started taking care of myself. I didn't want to pay for my daughters to go. I didn't want to go with a friend. I thought this is time for me to do something for me. And as I was on that trip, I had a lot of moments where I, was taking pictures of art for my classroom and then going, wait, Julie, stop and look, stop and look. It's not just about the photograph, it's about you being in this moment, in this place, in this time, eating when I wanted to eat and not feeling guilty one night going, I'm going to have 3 desserts and a bottle of wine for dinner like that. And I am not going to feel bad about that because I want 3 desserts, right? I don't want a plate of pasta. I want 3 desserts. So going on that trip put a lot of things in perspective for me. Working with, hospice, understanding friends that wanted to come and talk to my mom, lovely people. But my daughter taught me this. Echo, we just had this conversation. It's okay to say no. It's okay to say, no, I'm sorry. I don't want to talk to you right now. Um, I'm not in that right frame of mind, or no, thank you. And also, it's okay to ask for help. Could you please do me? I need a favor. If you can't do it, it's fine. I'll ask somebody else, but I need help. Because as a single mom and all of that, you're used to just going, it's fine. I'll just do it. I'll just do it. And you realize you've never done anything, you get always go back there. So that's the hardest thing. Even though I don't need to raise my daughters anymore, I felt like, okay, that energy was just shifted to somebody else, a boyfriend or a friend or a mother or, students. And now I go, no, 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 no. I fit in there somewhere. And it actually, my brother taught me a great lesson. If you're on a lifeboat and you've got your children there, I've got my two daughters, who do I save first? Right? The ship's going down. It's got to be me. I got to save myself first because I can't save them if I don't save me first, right? And so I kind of have to use that mantra. You got to save yourself first, right? Because if you break down, the whole system is going to break down. So
That's so true. And so, everybody out there, if you're listening to this, we're putting the kid. There is no school without the teachers.
yeah,
And I also think that they should have like teacher appreciation at the beginning of the school year and not at the end to pump it up, because you're at the waves, COVID waves, parent waves, mask or no mat waves, and that you're the ones that need the self-care more than anything right now. So
yeah,
here's my last question. That and so take another deep breath, and wow, there's so many gold nuggets that we can
yeah.
learn from you, Julie. I Miss Winston.
Julie, I actually tell my students, call me Julie or Miss Winston. I'll react to either one.
Yeah. So as a group of paradigm shifters, what we like to do is ask you, thank you for being here and for, opening up our eyes to, we're out here doing our thing, but you're the ones that are the educators of our generations. What can we hold for you personally? What would you love to have us hold for you for this coming school year, or for this coming whatever you want to call it year? What would you love to have us support you in, being, doing, energetically, you name it? We're a community to support you. What would you love, Julie Winston?
I think the biggest thing is, and I feel like I have a lot of it, but it's patience. Because I need patience with the stuff outside of the classroom. And I'm not talking about my personal life, I'm talking about when I leave my classroom door and I have to go to a meeting about something that I've met about for 18 years, a meeting about something that I could read, but I have to go to a meeting about it, right? Paperwork that I have to sign and prove that I've read it. Patience about those kinds of things. Yes, they're out of my control, but as somebody and as teachers will know who've done it for years and years and years, I'm watching the same compliance videos. It's a shame I have to watch a video about behavior that you would assume people would know how to behave, but I have to watch that video. So dealing with those things, because it's not in the classroom, it's not the kids, it's patience to deal with the other stuff, that stuff that a lot of people don't know what teachers go through. The meetings at the beginning of the year, the meetings in October, the faculty meetings, the meetings. Oh, and then they want you to be on a committee or they want you to be a club sponsor. And that's where you're like, that's where I need help.
All right, I love it. Patience is good. Okay, so now what we're going to do here, this is like a trick, not a
Got
trick,
it.
a tool. And what we're going to do is we're going to send energetically through the screens, right? You ready to catch this,
I
Julie?
will take it. I will
Okay, here it
grab it.
comes. Here it comes from all over the world, all over the globe, for showering you and all the teachers with patience. And so
Thank
it is.
you. Thank
Thank you
you.
so much for coming in the middle of your school day, and we honor you, we bless you, and we so appreciate you and all that you do, Julie. Thank you so much.
Thank you.